What up guys, welcome back to 88-Bit Tech. I'm AJ and today I've got the Iwongou 240mm AIO cooler to review for you. It is currently the cheapest AIO that you can get, 240mm AIO that you can get on AliExpress at $38 US, taxes and delivery included. It arrived in 8 days to Sydney, Australia. Let's take a look at it now. So you guys have already seen my video of the AIGO AC SE, and it's working quite well. It's not too loud, but it's working quite well to keep my system cool. However, the thing I didn't like about it is it didn't have addressable RGB. Shortly after I made that video, Iwongou released their 240mm AIO, and this has addressable ARGB. The fans came pre-installed, which is another added bonus, so I don't have to do that myself. Makes it a little easier, but I will go ahead and test these two to see which one is better. I'm going to go ahead and run Cinebench 5 times on the AIGO AC SE 240 AIO in the multi-core test here on Cinebench 2024. And I'm also going to run Furmark. I'm going to run the CPU stress test, and I'll log these results, and I'll swap over to the Iwongou cooler and test that. Alright guys, so we're finishing the first test. Just finishing this last render. Temperatures look good. We've got no thermal throttling. So once this completely finishes, I'll take a snapshot so we can capture this. So I plugged the numbers in. There's our averages, nothing in the red, and no thermal throttling. As you can see, it's nighttime now. I had to go to work, so I couldn't finish all the tests. This is the last one though. Coincidentally ended up being the highest score. And here we go. We experienced no thermal throttling through any of the 5 tests. Cool. So that is what we're going to compare against the Iwongou AIO. However, I am going to also do a Furmark test now as well. Alright, we have Furmark running. It's version 1.37.2.0, and the burner test is version 0.1.0. Using all 16, we're going to run this test for about 30 minutes. So it's 9:57 now, so we'll go till 10:30 and see where the temperatures settle for this. You can see we're already climbing. Let's see how it goes after 30 minutes, guys. Alright guys, we've finished the stress test. So you can see here, and the timer down here is 29:59. We've got no thermal throttling. I did find out what this power reporting deviation is. This is basically what the motherboard is reporting the CPU power to be to the CPU, and the reason it does this, especially when you're running CPU intensive tasks, is it's actually falsely reporting. It's falsely reporting the power that the CPU is pulling to the CPU, so that way it can sustain higher clocks and trick it by sustaining higher clocks. At least that's what the rudimentary Google search said about it. But yeah, so that's actually perfectly fine. But anyway, so I took a snippet of this right at 30, so you know we could get the correct averages and here before it starts cooling down. Anyway, I wrote it down here. So we've got the Furmark result here with a 30-minute burner test. I need to remove that multi-core score because that's from before, but here are the averages. And like I said, no red values, which is pretty cool. no red values, and we got a high temperature of 84.3 on the CPU CCD1, the max there. So that's the AIGO AC SE 240mm AIO. Let's see how well the Iwongou 240mm AIO goes. Alright guys, we have the Iwongou cooler installed. Unfortunately, I have got an MSI board and I don't have an Aurora Sync header to plug in this, so it actually ends up just being static RGB as well. We've already run a couple of tests of Cinebench R24 and we're actually getting some red values, so it's not performing as well as the AIGO. But we'll go ahead and finish the test here and we'll see what happens after it's all finished. Alright guys, so we've finished the tests with the Iwongou SL 4P240, so the Iwongou cooler. So you can see here we've got the graph set up with the Cinebench R24 version 1.0 multi-score test. In blue we've got the AIGO AC SE 240, and in the red we've got the Iwongou SL 4P240. Now, it's a pretty decisive winner here. The AIGO AIO cooler is definitely cooler, anywhere from 2.2% to all the way to 4.1% cooler than the Iwongou AIO. So we see here that for the CPU average, we got 79.68 on the multi-core test off of Cinebench, and the Iwongou cooler got 82.68. CPU max, we got an 81.12 for the AIGO, 84.62 on the Iwongou, and that's where we saw the greatest difference. We got a 4.1%. The AIGO cooler was 4.1% cooler than the Iwongou cooler, a difference of 3.5 degrees. And that's kind of pretty much the same story as we go through here. CPU CCD1 max also close to that 4% or average here, close to that 4% difference, with a 3.2 degree difference on the cooling, as well as 3.3 over here. You can see all the percentages of how much cooler the AIGO cooler was compared to the Iwongou, and the total difference in degrees. One thing to note though, however, even though that these values are the Iwongou cooler's values are quite high, especially on the CPU CCD1 max, reaching a 87.02 degrees C, it still did not thermal throttle. So for all the Cinebench runs that I did, 5 passes of the Cinebench multi-core test for both the AIGO and the Iwongou coolers, and in none of those tests did we experience thermal throttling. So everything was still within normal range. At least when it comes to HW info, values don't turn red until it hits 86 degrees. So only one red value was with the Iwongou cooler on the CPU CCD1 max temperature of 87. Everything else was below that and did not redline. With Furmark version 1.37.2.0, the CPU burner test, we ran it for 30 minutes to see, to really stress these coolers out and stress the CPU out. And the AIGO cooler did really well. The AIGO 240 AIO got a max temperature of only 84.3, so that CPU CCD1 max got to 84.3, but stayed relatively below that. And the range of how cool it was compared to the Iwongou cooler, it ranged from 5.1% all the way to 6.3% cooler than the Iwongou cooler. Pretty significant. The Iwongou cooler, on the other hand, for this test, at least in HW info, did get red values on every single temperature reading as we approached almost 90 degrees C. The good thing is that is still well within range. The highest temperature that we got on the Iwongou cooler was on the CPU CCD1 max. It got all the way to 89 degrees C. Didn't quite hit 90 after 30 minutes, but still was completely fine. No thermal throttling was experienced with either of these AIOs, so you're going to be perfectly fine. And obviously that is running the burner test for 30 minutes is a very unique situation. During gaming, you're not going to experience those temperatures at all. But just some noticeable differences here. The largest difference that we got was on the CPU die average. We got on the AIGO cooler 81.5 versus 87.1 on the Iwongou cooler, which is a difference of 6.4% and or equivalent to 5.6 degrees Celsius. Yeah, so that's the test. The AIGO 240mm AIO is cooler than the Iwongou 240mm AIO. But the difference in price is for the AIGO cooler, you're spending $47 taxes and delivery included if you get it on a good deal. And then for the Iwongou cooler, you're spending $38 taxes and delivery included. They're both relatively good, cheap in price, but honestly, I don't think you can go wrong with either of them. But if you need a more robust cooling solution, the AIGO is going to be the one for you. Like I said, the Iwongou still performed really well. It still kept everything under 90 degrees C and well within that range of not thermal throttling. So the other added benefit with the Iwongou is it's supposed to be Aura Sync capable. Unfortunately, my motherboard doesn't have Aura Sync because it is a MSI. But I do have another Asus motherboard that I'm going to do a build on that has that cooler, that has the Aura Sync built in, so I'll be able to hook it up on that one. That's my review of these two units. If you guys do have any questions regarding either of these AIOs, the AIGO or the Iwongou, please leave it in the comments below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. I will link the two AIOs in the description below if you're interested in picking either of them up. They are affiliate links and they will help me out. No extra cost to you. If you liked the video, please like the video. It really does help the channel out. If you wanted to see more videos that I release, please subscribe by clicking on my face over here, or actually like way over there. And if you want to see some other videos that I've released, you can check out the other videos on my face now or above me here. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.